In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Ritz Furniture specializes in quality furniture for affordable prices. Our extensive inventory highlights top brands and provides everything you could ever want. You can count on us for kitchen, dining, bedroom, and living room furniture, no matter what the style is you have in mind. Stop in with your family and look at our amazing selection to find the perfect fit for your home. Contact us today to see how we can make a difference in your home.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into Inside the SMC, presented by Team F-Line Sports. Jake West joined by Brandon Stevens. We've got week 1 in the books, and we will start by taking a look at the scores from last week, do a little preview of this week. Should have a short show this week, but we have some interviews from Lucas Ford, Sherman Holt. We've got an interview with the Hurd County play-by-play guy when we get to our game of the week at the very end. We will be streaming Murphy at Hurd County. So everyone that's not making the 3-hour trip, please tune in to flyntv.com and get to hear Brandon and I talk a little bit more. But let's start with Madison and Andrews. Madison shuts the door on Andrews. Andrews takes their show on the road. They lose 26-0 to Madison. Andrews showed some positive things. In seeing an interview with J.J. Phillips, Brady McClellan was pretty good on both sides of the ball. He was only 1 for 6 passing, but he had 100 yards on the ground. Also had an interception. They're just young. They're just a young team. The mistakes they made were really just fundamental. It wasn't like anything very glaring that stuck out at you. They just have young players. I think they have something like 5 seniors or something like that, and 3 of them, this is their first year playing football. So to be expected, stumble out of the gate, but they have Smoky Mountain this week, and Smoky Mountain looks like they're not their usual self, so that could line up to be a good matchup.
Yeah, I think, well, number one, let me go back for just a second and just say I was surprised about this game because I thought this was probably going to be an Andrews game.
Yeah.
And I thought they probably had the upper hand, and Madison County, both teams in a rebuilding kind of state, and specifically Madison County, I thought was probably the poorer of the two if you're in that position. But I thought this one was going to go Andrews last week. Smoky Mountain, real quickly. I don't think that basically, we went and I predicted that it was going to be a Smoky Mountain over Swain football game last week, and a couple reasons. I thought, the fact that the kind of same playbook that was running where you really had the ability to run the quarterback. You had good running back. I thought they were still fortified and probably playing at home over in Silva. They could have probably won up Swain just for that reason. But it shows us that, number one, Swain has rebuilt a good point. I mean, we made points last week that quarterback Drew Cody is back. We also see that Zeke Glaspie is turning on the speed, and Corey Stillwell, he's making some things happen. But Drew Cody, not a lot of passing coming out of this football game, as it was 3 of 4 for Drew Cody, about 60 yards, and but Drew ran the ball 11 times. It was surprising. He did the lion's share of running, and he did all the scoring. He hit Corey Stillwell for a 2-point conversion, but just toward the end, the number ones go out and the number twos for Swain go in. Smokey gets a score. I believe also there was an interception. Maybe a fumble here or there, but the other one that you really want to give props to in this football game, there were some Silas Stanberry led the way in solo tackles. You also have Drew Skaggs. He sacked about 2 or 3 tackles for loss. Matter of fact, I know he had a quarterback hurry and at least 6 solo tackles. So those 2 guys were leading the way for tackling and doing the defense. But 21-6, I didn't think that one was going to happen. But hey, props to Swain County's Maroon Devils. It's good to see the work that Drew Cody. Saw him yesterday going over to talk to Sherman Holt, and of course Sherman, as you'll see in just a second, he's all teeth about this game. I mean, he's really smiling about this. And now, should I halt, or you want to show Sherman?
So before we show,
go ahead.
Before we show him, let's talk a little bit about So we have talked about how Swain got the better half of Smoky Mountain, and knowing that, how do you feel Andrews will fare against Smoky Mountain this Friday night?
Well, I tell you what, still there's work that they'll do, and I think that Smoky Mountain's really looking at them, they've got a good front line. I mean, one of the things that is the positive coming out of that is that really Coach Postel has a pretty good playbook. They with Smoky Mountain losing good quarterback, good running back, they're still trying to find their position with some of the skill players. I don't like to use that, but I said that last week. But really good linemen. I think if you run the ball on Smoky Mountain, you're gonna get stopped. It's going to be really not a good night. If you're your better luck might be throwing a pass, but they have some folks in the backfield that can be quick as cats and can move, and they will. They move to the ball well, and so the bottom line is, without going 50 miles around, to tell you that you better have an A game for Smoky Mountain, even though this is not the polish, not the same ability that Smoky Mountain had last year. They can do a number on you, and I think that if you're not prepared, you can't go in and do the same mistakes that you had against Madison County, or Smoky will eat you up. And so, with that said, this probably will be a Smoky Mountain game. And depending on how well that they're rolling into this game, not scoring that well, but this was a different. It's at Swain County at this point in the season. Swain County and Andrews, not the same teams. There may be a little more advantage here, so I'd say that Smoky could get some points here. So this could be very easily like a 24-3 football game if they don't watch it.
Yeah, I just think with Andrews' youth, I was thinking like 21-7. It's on the road. It's in Silva. But I do like what I'm seeing them build over there. They're just so young. It's going to take some time to get into the full swing of things. But let's hear from Swain County head coach Sherman Holt as he recaps their game against Smoky Mountain and talks about their upcoming game against Pisgah.
Coach, you have to have an excited team after winning Smoky Mountain 21-6. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it was good for our kids. Big rivalry for us, and it's always talked about. Real big for our communities. But our kids, played really, really hard. I was proud of their effort, proud of their just the way they played together. Kind of gelled pretty good for the first game. Sometimes you get to the week one and you have a lot of just sloppy play. Our kids played pretty doggone good. A lot of really clean, not a lot of penalties. Had one fumble, one interception, so just pretty good as far as the way we played and efficiency at what we played. Played really well on defense. That first team D, they actually didn't allow no points, and so proud of that. And just really good confidence booster going into week 2. You can't be 2-0 unless you're 1-0. So
Right.
It's always good to start the season off with a win. And you've worked hard all summer, all spring, fall camp. So really pleased for our kids to get that win under their belt Friday night.
Well, let's talk some specifics just in there. Drew Cody, Zeke Glaspie, Corey Stillwell, they seem to be, putting the numbers on the board, whether it's points or yards. And Drew Skaggs leads the way for defense.
Yeah, quarterback play was good Friday night. Drew Cody done a real good job just managing, being very good operational on offense, and got to get the ball to him. You got to let him run it, got to let him do something with it because he's so athletic. And then Zeke Glaspie done real good running the football for us. He carried a little bit more load than Drew. I think he carried it 19 or 20 times, and so Zeke done a real good job just kind of giving us a double-edged sword in the run game. And then Corey Stillwell had a couple real big catches for us, one early in the game to extend the drive on 3rd down, and then caught a 2-point conversion that got us back even 21 right there. And so just our senior leadership on both sides of the football was really big for us. Drew Skaggs lived in the backfield all night long. Silas Stanberry led our team in tackles, and so it's just one of those things that you got to count on those guys that's been here for a while and played in a lot of games, seen a lot of action, and they stepped up Friday night and led our team to a victory.
You're going to get on the white buses and go Friday night to Pisgah, and that's going to be a different ball game. Talent steps up a little bit, but they had some troubles with Mountain Heritage. Can you tell us about Pisgah?
Yeah, so for us, it's going to be a little different just because they like to throw the football a little more than Smoky Mountain did. So they're a little more balanced. They're about 60-40, 60 run, 40% pass. And so for us defensively, we got to be a little more, I'm not going to say dynamic, but, because they're dynamic, we have to be dynamic as far as, making our reads and dropping into coverage and not getting our eyes in the wrong spot. Got to have discipline with our eyes, and so we can do what we need to do. And then, I think skill-wise, they've got some real good skill kids, a couple wideouts that are very athletic, real long, tall kids that can run. Quarterback throws it pretty good. He's a new kid that's coming in first year playing quarterback for the varsity team, and so, he's pretty good. He's learning. You can tell in the film. He's making decisions, and you see. So we got to kind of keep an eye on the Mahaffey kid at quarterback. I just think he's a real good athlete that can beat you with his arm, beat you with his legs. But the biggest thing for us Friday night, I think, is going to be tackling the Pope kid. Landon Pope, big, strong kid. Great wrestler. State championship wrestler. So he's just he's very strong. He's very, very dynamic. And so for us, got to do a good job keeping him hemmed up. And always when you play on the road, I think, for us, we got to try to get that momentum early and not let, home field advantage play into their hand. And let's get on the board early and, get going early, and so that they might not get as much momentum from playing at home, because anytime you go to Canton, that's a big environment, and they got a lot of support over there. So, but we're gonna do what we do, control what we can control, and our kids, had a good couple of days of practice this week already, and so we're looking forward to being able to go play again Friday night and give it everything we got. See what happens.
Coach, go win and go Maroon Devils.
He didn't say go Devils.
Hey, that's the biggest smile he's had on his face in a while, and
yeah, and they deserve it. They really do. They're working well. Hey, I think though a couple of things I just want to reiterate or just just really highlight what he said, and I think are important. Defend the pass, although they're going to be about 60-40 run to pass. There are another couple of running backs, Hunter Nelson, Jackson Batista. They're good running backs, but the one Landon Pope that he mentioned, that's the big guy. Now they had some trouble. Pisgah, I mean, it was not a good game with them and Mountain Heritage. Mountain Heritage, even though they lost gazillion bajillion players to graduation, they still just reloaded. They came right back in, and they show that they have some, they have the prowess to come through and throttle you. But Pisgah, they're going to have to set the tone and get things reset. So I think they're even though Swain's going to be loaded and hunting bear, the Pisgah Bears will be doing the same thing. They've got to get that first win, and Swain riding high with that. This could be another Swain County win, even though they get on the white buses and go to Canton, and that's a tough place to play. Don't know if you've ever really watched a game or been involved in a game over in Canton, but it's. People have said that's like the Super Bowl of high school football. When Pisgah plays Tuscola, but it's an intimidating play. Even though it's been flooded, a few times, and they've had to rebuild, but it's still a palace of sorts. I think that man alive, Jake, this one's going to be relatively close, and I think it could either be low scoring or it could be just high scoring, depending if we see a good stand on defense. With the passing, I think that Swain could cover the pass very well. You've got Zeke Glaspie, you've got Corey Stillwell that could do the work and cover that. So that might eliminate some of their yardage. And if the run then your key is what he says is getting a hold of Landon Pope. So my thoughts here, this could be like 21-18 and a slight advantage to Pisgah on this, just because they're in Canton. I think if this was Swain, I'd reverse that and say no, it'd be the other way around. Yeah,
I think Pisgah just ran into a buzzsaw last week and I think they're a better team than that. They're gonna get their first win this week, but Swain's gonna show a lot of fight. This is a completely different Swain team than the one we saw last year, and I do think that this will be a close one. But I think 28-21, 28-14, something like that. Pisgah pulls away at the end. They get their first win. Another team I think gets their first win this week after pretty good thrashing last week is Hayesville. They lost 41-0 to Asheville School, but we know just how good Asheville School is. They play Inca. And they play in Clay County. I think Hayesville wins this one 21-7 against Inca. They had they had a new quarterback back there. They switched out Coker and the guy. So, just more snaps, more experience. Trey Graves did his thing. Colton Bruggers was very good. They had some bright spots, but they're going to really, I think they turn things around and go get their first win this week, 21-7 against Inca.
This is not the traditional Inca Jets. Inca Jets have been a good passing team, and I think back when the old Texas spread offense came through, they were probably one of the first teams to really install that and go with it. Remember a quarterback, Connor, that that they had years ago, and man, he could really run that, and Pisgah, or I'm sorry, Inca could really do some damage to you. But I think just various things over time. Uh, Maybe some out migration of industry, and maybe that's taken away some of the kids that they've had. But this has not been the traditional Inca Jets football team that you see, but they're still dangerous. You're going to have to watch them. They typically have had some a smaller team, but from time to time they've where they have skill. A lot of times it's been speed, and obviously speed can kill. But after a while, you might run out of steam. But this could be a good Hayesville Yellow Jacket football game, as you say.
Cherokee, they looked very good against North Buncombe last week, 20-7 victory for the Braves. And Rosman has North Buncombe this week, but Cherokee's got Tuscola. Tuscola, a 12.5 point favorite, even though this thing is at Cherokee. We saw Robbinsville beat Tuscola 28-14 last week. How do you see Cherokee faring against Tuscola at home? They got a new quarterback. Panther looked good. Sailors at running back. Garcia looked very good at wide receiver. Cherokee looked good. Cherokee looked like they compete with anybody.
Well, yeah, they did, and good win. Congratulations, Cherokee Braves. I know this was one that we predicted correctly last week. Maybe not necessarily the score, but a scoreless first quarter. They paired off 7-7 in the second quarter. It looked like North Buncombe was taking the lead third quarter, but then, Cherokee took the lead in third quarter, and then it was just the final point. But I was surprised that Jonathan Saylor was not the quarterback. I'd heard word around the campfire that that maybe not necessarily Dawson Panther would not be the quarterback. But hey, one of the thematic pieces here is who can outpass who, because 255 yards for Dawson Panther, 60% passing, 12-20, and then you've got Bartley from Tuscola. It was nothing but a passing fest that they tried to get through on Robbinsville.
They threw nearly 50 passes against Robbinsville.
42, I think. Yeah. It was, and he completed 27, almost 300 yards. But still, you come up short against the Black Knights, and and that one played in Big Oaks. But the back to them, I think that Saylor. About 8 yards a carry. Do it. So I think that was a smart thing. There was some worry, I know, in the Cherokee Braves camp. Maybe Dawson Panther's not experienced. He needs to be a little older. Needs a little more experience. But he was baptized by fire last year.
Yeah.
And at the very end, he had to come in and and he learned. He matured, and he's doing pretty good. I had a nickname for him because he was. I remember when he was born, he was. I called him Oli Ga. That's the red horse. He's very special. You don't see a red horse fish much anymore. But so with him, I think that watch him, and this one jumped off the page at me. But congratulations, Cherokee Braves. I think on the other hand, looking at if you can one match up with Tuscola, play them well, keep the big points. They've always had like big guys on the front line, or they've had like very special skill players. You go back to their coach Jonathan Crompton, when he was playing quarterback. They've always had there's been something that has, but this again, has not been the typical Tuscola team. I think if Cherokee can put on this same performance, but I was looking for a little more, to be honest with you. I was looking for a little more from Cherokee. I was looking for a few more scores to come out, and maybe they can squeeze that out with Tuscola. They lose to what was it, 28-14 to Robbinsville. I think this is going to start trying to shape up to a very interesting Smoky Mountain Conference. But in this one, I think it'll be relatively closer. And this one might be like a 24-17, and I'll give this one to Cherokee.
Yeah, I think we're going to see more points scored. I think we're going to be in the 35-28 range or somewhere like that. I think both of these offenses are pretty high-powered. Robbinsville bowed their neck last week, showed just how good their defense was. Really only allowed one score. Tuscola scored with 3 seconds left. You'll hear Coach Ford talk about that in a minute. But, it's really a toss-up. With it being at Cherokee, I'll give the nod to the Braves. But I do think we're going to see a lot of points scored. Panthers going to have to play well because Tuscola is going to score. They're just they put the ball in the air too many times to not find the end zone. So Panthers going to have to play well. Those receivers are going to have to be on their A game. But I do think Cherokee can win this game at Ray Kinsland. I think that's a tough place to play for anybody. And, I like what Cherokee is building. Last week we saw Rosman lose to 35-0. I thought that would be a much closer game, as did I think Andrews and Madison will be a closer game. But, Rosman first year back in the Smoky Mountain Conference, and it's not a great year to be having a rebuilding year in the Smoky Mountain Conference because we've got, Cherokee looks good. Murphy looks good. Swain looks like they're bouncing back. Robbinsville is just like always. We haven't seen, Hayesville. They pulled an unfair first week judgment against them against Asheville School. But, Smoky Mountain Conference is tough, but it's really tough this year. They've got North Buncombe, who Cherokee beat 20-7 last week. Do you think Rosman can fare any better this week?
They have to. I think this is. I was a little surprised with this one because I think I was trying to look back at my notes and just see how I'd called this one to say, all right, I think we were calling this one a Rosman game because
I know I did.
I was really not impressed with the thought of Owen Warhorses, especially but apparently got a little more skill, a little more ability. They want to, so that one, this, I hate to say it this way, but I'll just say it's you've got nowhere to go but up. So let's see what happens.
Let's listen to Coach Lucas Ford talk about their win against Tuscola and their upcoming game this week.
All right, Coach. Friday night, played Tuscola 1-0 and get your first win as head coach. Just tell us about Friday night.
Well, Friday night we came out and we played great defensively. We the first half we really got pressure to their quarterback. That's a total different style than what we're used to seeing and what we see through our conference, but we will see it in the playoffs, so it's good to get that experience. But our D-line and our secondary linebackers, they played lights out. They kept pressure on the quarterback. Offensively, we came out and we just tried to kind of push our way through, just bullied them. It was kind of trying to play keep away, but we started getting chunks of yards off of sweep and powers and stuff like that, and was able to get up 14-0 going up to the half. Come back out of the half, they made some adjustments to the offense we were in, the sets and the formations, and our kids have gotten really tired. Start the second half, we say we got to get in better condition, which we do. But you look at a game like this coming Friday, and it's going to be a total different type of conditioning because our kids were running sprints backs with receivers running verticals. Our D-backs were. Our line was just pinning their ears back trying to get pressure. But we do have to get in better condition. But, I was very pleased with the effort. We end up 28-7, I think. Defense had a pick six. Rylan Waldrop did make it 21-7, and then we got a good drive going. Right after that, Luke Lovin carried it several times for us there with some design quarterback runs and speed options, stuff like that. Kind of sealed the deal and put us up 28-7. I think they scored with 3 seconds left to make it 28-14. But very proud of our kids. The effort, these kids really like each other. They, they are getting really close as a team, and that's something that we are very pleased to see. But it's a good win. It's fun.
Yeah, you have to be very proud of your defense. You mentioned this is a team, a style of play they're not used to seeing. We're used to the ground and pound in the Smoky Mountain Conference, but your D-backs, they saw nearly 50 passes hit the air Friday night.
We had 3 picks, 1 pick 6. Cameron Allison had a pick, and Luke Lovett had a pick. So, we're really proud of our defense, and our defense have to learn more this week than they'll have to learn all year. Because, you got quads, you got 4x1 sets, 3x2, stuff like that. Usually that's stuff that we're adding as we're going in the playoffs, getting ready for that stuff. But you had to put it in week 1. We had some kids, you always have those kids that have to step in that may think they don't or not going to. Had several kids that have to step in and do that. At one point in time, we were rushing a D-back at defensive end. Because we were just, we were gassed and busted, and I'm not sure that wasn't a great idea because they were able to get some quicker pressure for us. So, that was good.
And offensively, you're able to put points on the board with Isaac and Kazik back there, and Luke. You mentioned him; he did well, but you also had some younger guys kind of emerge and carry the ball for you well.
We did. Cam had a good night. Rushing the ball, he's going to be dynamic for us. He's a playmaker. He's a guy that we feel like can just take it any time to the house. Kazik ran the ball great first couple drives. He had a little ankle injury there, just tweaked his ankle a little bit. He's fine. But, and then he started cramping too. So Isaac Collins never come off the field. That kid, whatever he's done to get himself in shape outside of practice as well, I think he's running a lot extra. But he played every snap on offense and defense until we pulled the starters on defense. So very, very proud of him. Elijah Kirkland stepped in. Him, Bick, and Gibby played huge on defense for us. Elijah had to go in and play some defense for Kazik and Benton. He's all over the field. He's a player. Lots of tackles.
All right, this Friday night you're back at home. You've got Franklin. What do you guys expect to see out of the Panthers? This is a team that likes to play the Smoky Mountain Conference early. Smoky Mountain Conference didn't fare too well against Franklin last year, but it looks like they've got a little bit different team this year, and obviously you guys do too.
Yeah, Franklin's well coached. They got a great staff over there. They got some really good kids. They're going to come out and offset eye, and they're going to run it at you. They're going to hit the fullback in the flats. They're going to go 2x2 spread. They're going to do what they do. And so, it should be a fun game at the Big Oaks. Their defense is sound, but we feel like it's a game that we can compete in and just have a good night at the Big Oaks.
You had a good crowd Friday night, but I think you wanted to say you want a little bit more out of them this Friday night.
Let's get there and be loud. The energy, these kids feed off crowd energy a lot. Hey, why do you go to a football game and get loud? So we love our community, love our crowd. So see you at the Big Oaks.
All right, Coach, go.
Yeah, I like the work that they did. Luke Lovin, Kazik. That was a good football game for them the other night. So this one, I think, I'll put it like this. I'll give the end first. I'll just say this is going to be a Robbinsville football game, and I think especially since just kind of guessing what Franklin will do. I mean, will they run Garrett Young? So I mean, if you can keep containment there and do some of the things what as Coach Ford was talking about, and I know they'll be charged up and they're ready to go because Franklin's a tough customer, and they've spoiled some things over the years. So it's a good rivalry for not just Murphy, who traditionally starts out with them, but Robbinsville and Swain County. These guys, they set their watch by Franklin in a manner of speaking. So I think that if you're guys that did the work, as you said, breaking their necks, on the line, you got to stop Garrett Young. This was let me see. I was looking back at his rushing, about 27 carries, 128 yards. He ran it quite a few times. Not like a big number, but he was moving the ball. and Josh Brooks moved the ball around. There were quite a few quarterback keepers in this one, 5 carries for Anderson Terrell. A couple times to Adick Sutton, but Adick Sutton a little bit younger. Paxton Sutton 1 carry, but in the overall, Garrett Young, it almost like gives you the impression that Franklin's a little one-dimensional, but they had a lot of trouble passing the football. 4 of 15 for, I had them for about 20 yards. A couple times they hit, or one time they hit Garrett Young for, fullback pass, and then Gabe Harrison, but could not get anything moving. And I think one of the things here is that defense, we'll talk about the Murphy game, but once Murphy really just started laying in some hits and shooting the holes, the Franklin defense had some trouble containing. So if you can, get your knights on their horse and moving, you'll break the hole. I'm gonna, this one actually could, from my standpoint, I think that this one could be ugly, and ugly in a favorable fashion to Robbinsville. This one, I'd almost say could be a 35-7 football game.
Yeah, I think Robbinsville. They mentioned how last week they came out in the second half. They were pretty run down. They were pretty tired. Franklin was kind of in the same boat. Also, Coach Ford, though, he talked about how, it's different, like running a track meet when you're playing against Tuscola and they're throwing the ball 43 times. But, basically, like you said, jokingly in the beginning of this conversation, can you or can you not stop Garrett Young? Can your line keep from getting pushed around? And because he just needs this much space to fall forward for 3 or 4 yards, and that's it wasn't the long runs that were killing Murphy. It was the long drives set up by the 2 and 3 yard short runs. Franklin doesn't look like they're going to be able to hurt you in the passing game. Terrell wasn't able to find his receivers, hit his receivers, or be on target very often. So it looks like, Robbinsville changes their scheme defensively from what they ran last week against Tuscola to stacking the box, stopping Garrett Young. And I do think Robbinsville comes away with a victory here. Probably mimicking the score they had last week against Tuscola, 28-14. I don't think you score a ton of points against this Franklin team unless you're able to pass the ball extremely well. And it will be pertinent that Luke Lovin is able to complete some passes across the middle, because that's kind of what they were giving Murphy last week to move the chains when they were back up against the wall on those 3rd ands and 4th ands. So Lovin's going to be tested for the first time, having to throw the ball, I think, this week, and that will be fun to see play out. I think he's up for the challenge, and I think Robbinsville's up for the challenge. I think this one goes 28-14 in favor of the Black Knights.
You can't give them 7 more points.
Let's talk about our game of the week. Murphy beats Franklin 29-16 on the back of some help from some youngsters. Blake Davis clips the 100-yard mark on the ground. Brady Grant looks pretty good through the air. He has his favorite target clearly is Ryan Payne. And Ryan Payne, like we talked about in our preseason show, probably the best wide receiver in the Smoky Mountain Conference. Good security blanket for Grant. But Murphy, they give up this. They have the snap over the head of the punter for the safety. Franklin takes a 9-7 lead into halftime, and then Murphy comes out, scores 22 unanswered points after Franklin goes up. How long was that drive to start the second half? 6-7 minutes long?
Yeah, there was, this was Franklin and Murphy and Franklin, they burnt quite a bit of clock, just because I looked at one time, maybe I was talking to you or some of the others on the sideline, but started out at 12 minutes and, finished up right around 8.5 minutes. And then Murphy burns about another. So really, we only had one or two possessions that round out the, a couple of possessions that round out the first quarter, and and look and say, man, this football game is just cruising along because it's just maybe like 5 minutes after 8, and we're like halftime. So this one was there were passes, but and even one of the problems in this football game, kind of glad to see that Murphy, one of the most penalized teams in Western North Carolina, only just a few penalties that came up. I think about 8 penalties, but this was like mostly false starts. A couple things that just that hurt Murphy a little bit, but some bigger penalties went to Franklin. And a face mask, a pass interference. There was a defensive pass interference against Murphy Bulldogs, but and overall, this was pretty clean football game. It was in one respect, it was well balanced to that end. I think one of the things that turned it around, because the Murphy Bulldogs were by the third quarter, heading in when it was 16 to 7. They were pushing the panic button. Time's running out, and then Franklin unravels. An unfortunate fumble for them on a kickoff return. But I think also Murphy really started lowering its shoulder. I think Cameron Clem had enough, trying to zigzag through the holes. He finally started lowering his shoulder and just throwing some decleaters and snot bubbles on Franklin Panthers, which he has the capability. He's bigger than a skimp mule. I mean, and he's got the speed. He starts. He really just kind of starts busting through. It's almost like, hey, I'm tired of this. We're going to get to the end zone, and starts making some more yards, and does great there. But Blake Davis, I thought, was impressive because sophomore coming around, like you said, he and Brody McFadden. McFadden, not a contributor last year, had was banged up a little bit, but comes to the forefront and helps Murphy Bulldogs.
Yeah, tough test last week. They're able to, put together 4 quarters of, complete 4 quarters of football. They take the victory 29-16. They were tested last week. They're going to be tested again. This Heard County team's very good. We've got an interview with their play-by-play announcer that we will air on our pregame show. But he gives his predictions. And so a lot of the predictions that I've seen so far, like the Massey ratings prediction and the Northwest Georgia football predictions, 42-14 in favor of Heard County. 28-point underdogs are the Murphy Bulldogs heading into this week on the road, 3 hours to Heard County, to Franklin, Georgia, playing a team that is still pissed off about some officiating that they think went awry last year in this game where Murphy took a 2-point victory. Heard County lost 2 games last year in the regular season, one to eventual state champion in Georgia, Bowden, and the 1-2 Murphy. So this is a game. I talked to the play-by-play guy, and you'll see it if you watch our pregame show. This is actually a game for Heard County that they have had circled, even though it's a non-region, non-conference opponent. They care a lot about this game, and Murphy thinks, in the words of the play-by-play announcer.
If you think that because you won against the Franklin Panthers last week, 29-16, you've got the ability just to go down and just walk all over Heard County, you're absolutely wrong. That it's good that you get the momentum, you set some tone. I like what Brody Orton said last week. He said, Cameron Clem, and they all were like, hey, Franklin sets the tone, but this one is going to be a test. The whole team seems like it's whitewashed in seniors, and they're not petite. Jake. These are, there's one of the guards, 300 pounds. There's I think Riley Chapman is one of the better tackles. They've got a lot of good ability. Jack Langley is, this whole backfield, the secondary is going to be good. Now you're not going to see too much out of the offensive backfield. They line up. They've got 6 really good wide receivers that can do the job, and they get to the football. They're some of the early goings. If you look at, and I think you might know, you can amen me or not, but I think like they played South Atlanta, not the best team in the world. So don't look at South Atlanta and say 55-6 that they won that game. Oh, this is going to be a crushing game. Clarkston 49-6. But so Hart County's already played 2 games. Ethan Tisdale, a great passer, and Max Laster and Riley Chapman. These are some good players for this team. Just a couple to watch, but the overall theme here, they can, you're going to have to defend the pass. This is a set of guys that are really they're big, but the one key thing is being big is you have agility and you can move and correct and get out and make the plays. They can also cover the pass. So this is going to really test Murphy. If you can come out of Heard County with a win here, it's going to be big. But this one may be a Heard County football game.
Yeah, Heard County's heavily favored. They're going to come out. Tisdale is going to carry most of the load of the offense, whether he's running it with his own 2 legs, if he's throwing it with his arm. Defensively, they're very good, very stout. They're a big football team up front. This is going to be a really good test for Murphy. But when my favorite time to pick Murphy is? That's when nobody's picking him. You watch the Northwest Georgia football show, they've been counted out 42-14, 35-7. A lot of the predictions that I saw, 28-point underdogs. But listen, I like the dogs when their back's against the wall, when they go into a game thinking nobody believes in them. Coach Watson and his staff, Coach Watson and Coach Curtis and Kearney and Eric Laney, they have a way of getting these guys to rally. And it's going to take a rally Friday night against a very good Heard County team. Number 2 team in single A in Georgia. So I mean, this is a huge matchup.
And I think you're exactly right. I mean, really, this is when Murphy performs its best. It's whether it's again, backs against the wall, 16-7 against Franklin. You come in 22 points. I mean, whether you're triggering a turnover or you just come back and man up and go back after it. I think, I like challenges like this. Last week I think people didn't exactly want to give Murphy the advantage to say, oh, it's Franklin and look what they did to us last year. Oh my God, this don't cry, this is. But I think, you're exactly right, and this is when because look at the West Henderson game last year. It was that was huge. But I think with what they call them, the Braves.
Yeah.
So of course, me being the old Murphy Bulldog, I'm a reporter. This is what I've been tagged as. So just a couple of points, and this one could be close, just like last year. But I'm going to stay with a home team.
The
home team meaning us, Murphy Bulldog.
Tune in Friday night, 7:30, 7:15. We'll go live with the pregame show. 3 hours away in Franklin, Georgia. We will be traveling, bringing you that game live on FYN TV. Make sure you tune in. We need your support. If you're not making the trip, Brandon, thanks once again for joining us. We will be back same time, same place next week, and thanks for watching.